What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Taurean Rain Reloaded channel. If you are new, please be sure to go ahead and hit the subscribe button. Also, make sure to have your notifications set to all so you'll be notified whenever I upload a new video or go live. Also, be sure to have your notifications turned on your mobile devices as well. Be sure to also like, comment, and share this content on your various social media platforms. So today I wanted to talk about this story that is coming out of Albuquerque, New Mexico that is like a real tragedy. Now, as y'all know, I've been talking about a lot of incidents over the last week or so where it involved PC dealing with the cops, the standoffs, and how they get dealt with one way and how we get dealt with another way. Now, this is a flip on that story because this involves a black family out of Albuquerque, in which a casualty happened that could have been avoided, especially since the law enforcement were alerted that there was a kid inside of the home. And the kid being this one right here, whose name is Brett Rosenau, and I hope I'm pronouncing his name correctly. And he was 15 years old, and he died from smoke inhalation after the police threw a gas bomb inside of the home. It ended up setting the home on fire. He didn't get burned up in the house. It came from smoke inhalation. But I'm gonna go ahead and read the article and go into my rundown about this and how it's completely flipped in their actions when it's pursuance of black people in the same kind of aspect, and also related to how it could be related to two people who we talk about often on this channel. But let me go ahead and get into it. Albuquerque fire officials are investigating what led to a fire that killed a 15-year-old boy while police were in a standoff with the suspect in a southeast Albuquerque neighborhood. The Albuquerque Police Department said they were pursuing 27-year-old Quayant Kelly for an armed carjacking, vehicle theft, and probation violation. Kelly barricaded himself in the house, and police said they opted to use powder and smoke irritants when all other tactics failed. A fire later erupted. Kelly fled the home, but Brett Rosenau was discovered dead inside. Preliminary results of an autopsy list the boy's cause of death as smoke inhalation. Protesters and the homeowners are blaming the Albuquerque police for his death. I would like to know, the person who ran up in the home who they were going after, was that his home, or that was just the home that he just found, that he just ran up into? Because I don't think they specify if he lived there or even knew the people living there, or if he even knew this kid. But they just said he ran up into a home. I don't know if there was a random home or if he knew them or if there was any type of relation. Albuquerque Police Chief Harold Medina has acknowledged the devices used to introduce irritants into the home may have caused the fire. In our effort to track down and arrest a violent criminal, a young person tragically lost his life, Medina said in a statement. I know many people in our community are hurting right now and appreciate everyone's patience while the incident is thoroughly investigated. If any of our actions inadvertently contributed to his death, we will take steps to ensure this never happens again. Well, it most definitely did, because you threw a device in there that ended up causing a fire, and he ended up inhaling the smoke and he died from it. So I would definitely say, yes, it did cause it. But this is adding more fuel to what I have to say after I'm done reading this article. I've asked our victim service unit to work with the family and provide them support during this painful time. Elizabeth Fields told Albuquerque Journal that her sister Sandra Coleman owns the house that had been left in charred shambles after the July 6th standoff. Authorities said Rosenau had followed Kelly into the home. Fields said two young guys were visiting her sister's son when SWAT surrounded the house with guns drawn, so it does sound like they knew each other. Ordered everyone out and detained many of her relatives in handcuffs. And then they started pulling off the windows. They started removing the doors. They had a machine that ripped up the tree. And so then they started throwing gas bombs in there, Fields said, adding that the whole house went up in flames. Medina said that the Department Investigative Service Unit trailed Kelly to the home's front yard where he was spotted with the boy working on a motorcycle, which turned out to be stolen. Authorities said Kelly was also wanted for questioning for the June 26 shooting death of Leonard Fresquez, an officer-involved shooting on May 5th, and a recent armed robbery being investigated by Albuquerque police and federal law enforcement. Police said Kelly fled into the home and barricaded himself inside, and Rosenau followed behind. They said SWAT officers tried to talk Kelly into retreating from the home for several hours, with public service announcements and placing a phone in the house to negotiate with Kelly and Rosenau. The agency used a drone and robots to survey the house. I hope y'all are getting closer to the hint and who I'm about to bring up. To survey the house and to activate powder irritants. Officials said a man believed to be Kelly opened the back door of the home and lay on his back, but he ignored officers' commands to stand up. Officers used a noise flash device to try to get him to follow their orders, but Kelly went back into the home and shut the door. Kelly later fled the house when the fire erupted in the home. He surrendered and was taken into a nearby hospital with burn injuries. A dog also died in the fire. I'm only going to assume that the dog is this one in the picture. Medina said at one point the boy came out the house and went back inside of his own will. A woman who identified herself as Rosenau's mother said she was not mentally, physically, emotionally, financially prepared for the phone call she received about her son's death. As a mother, you never imagined that you would be attending your child's funeral. Amanda Lopez wrote on the fundraising website asking for donations to cover funeral expenses. Medina said the agency collaborated with the community safety department to find the home's occupants shelter for 90 days, food, diapers, and other resources. Medina said the SWAT team used a number of flameless tri-chamber tear gas canisters and rounds of powder-based chemicals into the home more than an hour before they noticed the smoke. He said there have been cases in other parts of the country of the canisters igniting fires, but they're supposed to reduce the likelihood of causing a fire. It's something we use over and over in tons of calls. He said the Albuquerque Fire Department said it would take 2 weeks to complete the investigation. However, witnesses and protesters say the police let the boy die because they knew he was in the home before they tried to flush out the suspect with the canisters. One protester held a sign outside the University of New Mexico on July 10th saying, "My question to APD, people told you there was a kid there. Why did you let him burn?" Fields told reporters that the police department's actions were overkill. They didn't save a life, and they burned down a family home that we can't get back. They said, well, we're trying to negotiate. It's 2022. These are black men that fear the police. You really thought you were going to get them to come out of the house? And that is the end of the article. So I hope that y'all picked up the subtle hints that they dropped in there when they mentioned the drones and the robots. Now, going back to before I get into that, let me just say that this whole thing is a tragedy all the way around. It really is all the way around. And while a lot of people are going to put a lot of blame onto the police department, which they should, I also put blame on the person that pretty much kicked all of this off. And that was that Kelly individual who ran into the house. Like, we just can't say that this person is completely innocent in all this, especially since they had priors going back to a couple weeks before this even happened. Like, they had a lot of stuff going on, and unfortunately this kid became the casualty of it. So he is as just much to blame, and I'm almost certain because he's alive, he's definitely going to have a lot of charges to his name. But that doesn't take away the fact that the police department could have done something much more better to ensure that this kid survived. Now, over the last couple of weeks, I've been doing a lot of videos of PC crime, quite honestly, when it comes to the cops and how they deal with PC people in these standoffs, how they deal with them when it comes to their interactions and whatnot. In every last one of those scenarios, every one of those stories, they've all survived. Never once did they drop or throw a gas canister into their home either to get them out, or whatever the case may be. One of them, or I think one of the stories, I think it was Lance Stores, it was people inside the home. I believe his wife and a child. I'm guessing his child. They didn't do that with them. Now, think about what happened with Christopher Dorner. They burned him alive inside of that cabin. Think about what happened with Micah Johnson. They sent a robotic bomb that we've never heard of again and blew him up. And now you have this situation right here where a gas canister was launched into a home that ended up causing a fire that this boy and the dog that you see right here in the picture died from. Like I said, look at how they deal with them and look at how they deal with us when it comes to these type of situations. It's very rare that black people will make it out of a situation like this. Not saying that it doesn't. I have to put that in there because I know a troll might try to slip up and say it is. I said rare. Very rare that a black person will make it out of it. And like I said, what makes this story so sad is that this kid was completely innocent. They didn't even take out the person that they were going after. So that's their screw up right there. So I can understand completely why the community is mad. And on top of that, they lost, and by they I'm talking about his family, lost an entire home. They lost a home behind this. They lost a home that they were living in behind this foolishness. And also, if you want to take it further, a little further back, but not too far back, look at what happened in 1985 with Move in Philadelphia. They dropped a whole duffel bag of C4 on there that damn near leveled an entire block. Just to get black people out there. When's the last time they've dropped a duffel bag of C4 on a mainly PC area where they were doing, I don't know, Klans-like activity? Or Dub S type activity. I can't remember it, and can someone let me know? See what I mean? I didn't even have to go back to Black Wall Street because that would have been too easy to do. So I went back with Move because that doesn't get talked nearly enough. It doesn't get talked about nearly as enough as it should. So you had Move, bomb. Black Wall Street, bomb. Christopher Dorner, fire. Michael Johnson, bomb. This right here, I guess you could say gas Canada stirred. Probably might as well turn into a bomb because it caused a fire. And what's the common denominator? All of this, all black. In Black Wall Street, all they were doing was minding their business, building up their infrastructure post-slavery. Move, they were just galvanizing black people as they should, minding their business. Christopher Dorner saw some shady stuff in the LAPD. As y'all know, the LAPD is in my top 5 most corrupt police departments. And it's crazy because I just did a story about that Pete C. cop that got taken out by other cops because of quote unquote mob training, even though I think it was way more to it than just what they're saying. Then yeah, Michael Johnson got blown up with a robotic bomb. And now you have this. The crazy part is like they were using that to try to get the main person, and they ended up not taking the main person out and ended up killing the kid. Even when people and witnesses were telling them there was a kid in there and to cease fire or to cease whatever you're doing, they went ahead and did it anyway. They said, we're going to get somebody today. Unfortunately, the person that they got had nothing to do with what they were trying, with who they were trying to apprehend. So it was an L either way. I hope his family sues the pants off of that department. Unfortunately, if they do and there's some kind of settlement check to be had, it's going to come out of the taxpayers' pockets. But now they're going to have to really recover because now you got to think about it. They're dealing with the loss of a loved one and the loss of their home. That's a lot of emotions weighed down on a person or people dealing with a situation such as this. You lost your home and a loved one in the same day. And it could have been avoided. But the truth of the matter is, I don't think they wanted to avoid it. Honestly speaking. Like I said, they were going to find a way to get somebody. And they did. They just got the wrong body. To make this story even more eerie, check out this headline right here that was posted up on the Daily Beast on July 12, 2022. And it was tagged to me by Texas FBA Forever. And I said I have to add this in because this is very interesting to me. It says a black teen died in a SWAT raid. Cops killed his dad 15 years ago. Now here's the crazy part about this. This boy was 15. His dad was killed 15 years ago, which means his dad was murdered the same year he was born. Unless he was getting ready to turn 16 this year, then he was killed the year after, just a few months into him being born. So he really didn't know his dad. He didn't know his dad at all. This actually is so eerie in the fact that it immediately made me think of Emmett Till, not because of the situation itself, but if you remember, Emmett Till's dad was in the military, and remember his dad was accused of sexually assaulting a PC woman, which led to him being killed. And then Emmett Till was killed in the same fashion, as in he was accused of sexually assaulting a PC woman, that Carolyn Bryant, and he was killed. And what's even more eerie about it is because Emmett Till wasn't, I think Emmett Till was 14. I think Emmett Till was 14 when he was killed, and this boy is 15. It's just crazy. It's like just kind of how things just kind of line up. And I was reading a little bit of the articles. I'm not going to read the entire thing. I just wanted to throw this part in there. According to it, it said his aunt had reached out to, no, not his aunt, that he reached out to his aunt on social media so he could find out some more information about his dad's side of the family, and that's how he was able to connect with him. Because remember, his dad was killed when he was just a baby. He was practically a newborn at this point, so he never knew his dad, so he never got that side of his family. That literally was taken away from him. And his aunt went on to further say that's probably why he had a fear of the cops, because of what happened to his dad. And now look at what has happened to him. That's crazy.